Alright, so I just finished The Last of Us season finale and I thought it was horrible. Let's get into it. The finale opens on Jesse removing the arrow from Dina's leg as Ellie returns from hunting down Nora. When Dina awakens to wipe the blood from Ellie's scratches and bruises, Ellie stares into the distance, dazed. Dina says that Nora got what she deserved, but Ellie isn't so sure anymore. She then proceeds to tell Dina about what Joel actually did. This secret visibly rattles Dina, who, for the first time since they left Jackson, seems to question her faith in Ellie. Dina says that they need to go home. At least in the moment, Ellie seems to agree. So again, we have Ellie exposition dumped to us about Joel's actions. I don't like how they make it so cut and dry about how making a cure would have been possible, because this is the zombie apocalypse. There are no guarantees. Ellie, without her consent, would have died for a very small chance for a vaccine to be successfully made. But that's a discussion for another day. Ellie repeating this and saying that maybe Nora didn't deserve her death is undeniable evidence that Ellie is no longer interested and invested in this hunt for Abby and getting justice for Joel. This seriously undermines everything that happened in episode 2 and 3 and removes any of the gray area in the season 1 finale. By making it appear that a cure would have been guaranteed had Joel not intervened, the showrunners are painting Joel as an objectively horrible person. It also weakens Joel and Ellie's relationship, because the vaccine isn't really relevant. What mattered was how Joel loved Ellie so much he was willing to give up the whole world for her. Ellie not showing any empathy towards Joel's actions makes the situation even more black and white, because if Ellie can't acknowledge or understand Joel's reasoning, it feels like the bond between them has been fundamentally eroded and Joel made the wrong decision. Before leaving though, they need to get Tommy. The next morning, Ellie and Jesse set out to meet Tommy at a rendezvous point, a bookstore. Their hike over allows them both plenty of time to catch up. Jesse's inferred from Dina's behavior that she's pregnant with this kid. Also on the way there, they hide behind a dumpster as a Scar gets taken by a group of wolves. Ellie wants to intervene, but Jesse stops her. At this point, it's almost as if Ellie knows she has the plot armor. What is she going to do against 6 armed wolves? Why is she risking her life, along with Jesse's, to try and maybe save some random person's life when she has way more important things to worry about, like Dina and her baby? Like getting to Tommy and making sure he's okay. Like making sure Jesse is able to be a father to his child. We know what happens to Jesse this episode, but still. The way Ellie talks about that Scar makes it appear she cares way more about him than she ever did about Joel, because she has shown no emotion indicating she's even slightly invested in seeking revenge anymore. At the bookstore, they find that Tommy isn't there. As they rest for a minute, Jesse begins explaining how he fell in love with the girl that came by the Jackson settlement years ago. He wanted to leave with her, but couldn't because of his obligations to Jackson. The story is meant to highlight how Jesse puts other people first and isn't selfish, the exact opposite of what Ellie is. Before they could get any deeper, their WLF radios rattle with gunfire, coming from a sniper they could only assume must be Tommy. They race up to the roof to get a better look at the Seattle skyline, from which Ellie spots a Ferris wheel near the far-off aquarium. As she does in the game, Ellie abandons all pretense of rescuing Tommy and refocuses instead on tracking down Abby. Jesse also reveals that he voted no during the Jackson vote to avenge Joel. Ellie blows up on Jesse by saying fuck the community. She then says that Jesse is a hypocrite because he let that random Scar die and that he would do exactly what Ellie would be doing if he were in her shoes. God, out of all the scenes in this season, this one takes the fucking cake. 1. The fact that Ellie suddenly has the urge to kill Abby is peak motivation flip-flopping. Again, this doesn't track for me because 10 minutes ago, she was totally fine with going back. When you can't understand the character's motivations, the viewer is no longer interested. 2. Ellie blowing up on Jesse about the community comes off as such childish behavior. Her saying Jesse's a hypocrite for letting that Scar die makes zero sense. Jesse not intervening and protecting himself actually is in the best interest of the community. Jackson is looking for him to be the future leader. So yeah, risking his life for some random kid is a no-brainer. And I don't know why Ellie's acting like this all of a sudden. This is the zombie apocalypse. People don't have the luxury to help out others. Resources are scarce and people are insane. You can't help everyone you come across. There was a supposed time jump in season 2 where Ellie is now 19, but you can't really tell based off her petulant behavior. This is also coming from someone who just tortured Nora yesterday. 3. Ellie saying Jesse isn't better than her and would be doing the exact same thing if he were in her shoes is wrong too. Nobody is perfect in this world, but based off Jesse's actions, he's definitely more moral and compassionate than Ellie. But I will admit, if Jesse had someone he loved killed in front of him, I don't doubt he would seek revenge too. But I doubt he'd let a pregnant woman tag along for the ride and have sex with her. I think he'd be focused on the mission and get out as soon as it was done. Jesse doesn't argue with her any further and they go their separate ways. We see Isaac talk with the WLF sergeant about how Abby is next in line if he dies, which is likely to happen, given that they're going to unleash a full-on assault on the Seraphites. Ellie washes ashore when her boat is shipwrecked, but thanks to the WLF's impending military operation, Ellie narrowly escapes disembowelment by the Scars. They flee into the forest when the wolves ambush the island, and Ellie sprints back to her boat, hightailing it to the aquarium. I get that this scene is meant to show that the assault has begun, but to me it's pointless. We know that Ellie isn't going to die, so having her strung up on the noose doesn't bring any sense of tension. We see Ellie arrive at the aquarium and find Mel and Owen. Ellie demands that they give Abby's location, but before that happens, Owen draws his gun. Before he gets any shots off, Ellie kills him and inadvertently kills Mel too. This scene rubs me the wrong way. Just earlier, we saw Ellie talk down to Jesse about how he let a Scar die, but when she's in a position to help Mel's baby, she does nothing. I understand that performing a C-section with no training is an extremely big ask, but doing nothing in this scenario guarantees that Mel's baby will die. Maybe Ellie's inaction here was intentional, but I would ask why. Because if anything, this inaction makes Ellie irredeemable. At least in the games, when Ellie kills Mel, her pregnancy is only revealed to her after she's dead. But in the show, Ellie clearly has time to rescue the baby before Mel dies. In my mind, based off the plot, the showrunners want to put Ellie on a pedestal and make her the one who's right all the time. But this scene undercuts this in a way I'm not sure the showrunners really understand, because as a viewer, I'm no longer rooting for Ellie. She is irredeemable. Personally, I now want Abby to win. Tommy and Jesse find Ellie and escort her back to the theater, where they enjoy a brief period of peace before they begin their route home. Ellie thanks Jesse for coming back to her. Jesse responds by saying that Ellie would have done the same thing for him. I really don't believe Ellie would set the world on fire to save Jesse. Their relationship wasn't really established at all. If anything, Ellie having sex with Dina and claiming that she'll be the father to the baby means that Ellie has absolutely zero respect for Jesse. Their reconciliation is short-lived. They hear Tommy struggling out in the theater lobby, and as they burst through the doors to save him, Abby shoots Jesse in the head, killing him. She points her gun down at Tommy while Ellie pleads for her to let him go. A gunshot airs out, but the screen cuts to black before we could see where it lands. Instead, we go back in time, reintroducing us to the Abby of 3 days prior. We see her wake up in the WLF compound, which is constructed inside a stadium. The text on screen informs us we've arrived back at Seattle, day 1. The season finale sucked. Now we have to wait until 2027 just to see Abby's story unfold for those 3 days. I really don't think this show will be picked up for a 4th season. The fan outrage is really going to start piling up after this finale, because this was horrible. Ellie's motivations flip-flop harder than they ever have. She tries to take Jesse down a peg, yet his actions and her actions both don't support her claims, and worst of all, Jesse's right. Ellie just does whatever she wants, whenever she wants, and suffers no consequence for it, except everyone around her. Jesse dies, Dina gets shot in the leg with an arrow, and Tommy is facing the end of Abby's gun. Although we're supposed to be rooting for her, Ellie has made this impossible. That's all I have to say for now. Let me know what you guys think though. I'll be back here sometime next week to give my Season 2 review. Take care.